YouTube, finally here. It is hot as balls, and with that being said, it is time for Edge of Eternities, the debut. Now, I'm going to say this right off rip. Originally, I thought this set was going to be very bleh, right? I didn't care. And the more I keep seeing, the more I get intrigued. So I'm hoping that this finally pushes me over the edge, and I'm full on like, yes, I just want. So, here we go. Cool.
Some think there's nothing beyond what is known.
Okay. Tezzy.
But I came from nothing.
Sec. Whoa.
I took the opportunity to forge my own destiny. I will make the stars tell me their secrets and bring these planets to their knees.
Wow.
When I know everything. All the power in creation will be within my grasp.
Cool. He really does feel like a big bad, which is really cool.
It's swirling with color. It's full of battling spaceships. It's
Wow,
star
that
nebula
looks sick.
far, far away. It's a beautiful place.
The art in this is fantastic, man.
To me, I mean, like, as a human being, space is the final frontier, and as a Magic designer, space has always also been the final frontier because we've never done anything before like this.
It's not like a small place we haven't been before. It's really huge and so unknown.
The Edge
Hey,
of
JD.
Eternities is
Hey, Mike.
really at the edge of the multiverse.
The way that our amazing world-building team has
okay.
explained this to me is if you imagine the multiverse like an orange, the edge is the rind. So it's this thin layer on the very outside of the blind eternities.
Okay.
And it's a little peek into a part of Magic's lore that has kind of been known for a long time, but also has been very unknown, this blind eternity space.
Really?
We weren't bound by any of the normal restrictions that we often have when we're returning to an old Magic plane that has a specific mechanical identity. Here, it's like, we're going to space. We've never been to space before. There is infinity exciting stuff to do here.
It's not just that anything can be out there. It's kind of that everything is.
We're in uncharted territory.
I love that
We're
the Kabus are in
expanding
this.
what anyone can imagine that Magic the game can be, that Magic the worlds can be.
We were
Whenever
playing so long ago.
Magic goes to a
Kabus
new
was so
kind
cool
of
looking.
setting, there's this enormous
that.
untapped well of concepts that we've
art on
never
that
done
last card
before that we get to do for the first
Makes
time.
me want
What
to
it
build.
means to have
like a
planets, what
Space
it
Army
means to
deck.
have ships, and kind of creating those things in
With
the
that in
language
it.
of Magic.
So
Oh, look,
there is
see?
a
Space Army.
storyline happening while a lot of stuff is also happening in the background. So the main storyline follows Sammy and their crew of misfits.
And the whole system here is revolving around
Sammy and their
a
crew of
void called
misfits.
Sothera.
There is a faction of monks who worship this black hole and are trying to
That's
feed
cool
it
looking.
and
Holy
eventually have it consume the entire universe.
The
Like, that's
super
the-
void
that's the
at the center,
coolest thing
as
with
well
this
as
whole
5
set.
planets, and each of those 5
To
planets
me.
are aligned to a different color of mana in Magic,
Is that
and all
all
of those
of
5
the
planets sort of
cards
express
look
their
fantastic
identity
from what
through
I've
what
seen
that
so far.
color is about.
And that's something that we really wanted to do with Edge of Eternities, was to really get the sense of this large scale, like space opera. We wanted it to feel vast.
We get to tap into our vision of outer space, right?
Okay.
Like, physics
Whoa.
doesn't apply to Magic.
Planets don't necessarily have to be round. You have planets here that have like turned into like corkscrew shapes, or some of
Oh,
them have
cool.
like holes through the center of them, or blasted into bits, but they're still keeping their shape in orbit.
See,
In a
this
science
is really
fantasy
cool.
set like this, scale is
It's
such
wild
an
as well,
important
'cause
thing.
Space
Most
is
of the
big,
time you
so
feel
we
like
kind
a
of
space set
let
Magic
loose with the
wouldn't
numbers a little bit.
However,
found ways to get
they're
double-digit
showing that it
numbers
will.
onto cards.
Maybe even bigger than Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, but I'm not going to spoil that yet. Correct.
Even when we go to a new place, we want to connect to Magic.
We decided to put a lot of lands in this set to really give players a chance to have the full
listened to the story
experience
yet.
on the table.
If you
in the
have listened to the
battlefield
story,
with
let
this
me know
new
how it is.
setting.
I was really excited when I started to work on the set to see that
'Cause right now-
Tezzeret, our old friend,
Yeah,
the
Tezzy,
evil
baby.
artificer, was in the file. It's such a perfect setting for him.
Yeah, so Tezzeret's here. Tezzeret got a little bit of a facelift. He's looking pretty badass.
Another great way that we connect Magic and the Edge of Eternities is through creature types, right? Kavu are returning.
Yeah, baby!
For fans of Kavu out there. Slivers, of course. I know there's so many fans of Slivers.
Hate Slivers.
Eldrazi. You
Hate
see
Eldrazi.
these creatures that you've seen on Dominaria and
That's
the other
highly
planes
upsetting.
of Magic, but now we've brought them to the Edge
That's
of
highly
Eternities.
upsetting.
One of my favorite
I went
cards
from
in
being
Magic
very
is
excited
Tarmogoyf. Now that I was
to-
working on the space set, I could live my reality of Tarmogoyf, space, Cosmogoyf.
Oh!
And that just, really captures the feel of, hey, we are in outer space now.
Cool.
All right,
Cosmogoyf,
what is,
huh?
outer space version of a Lurgoyf?
So from the onset of trying to design Edge of Eternities, I always knew that I wanted the large common flyer
Yeah.
to be a space whale.
Love the whale.
They're in so many different kinds of media,
I don't
and I always
care.
find it
I
so
want the
silly,
whale.
it's so awesome at the same time.
Look, it's a flying whale. That's really cool.
There are
Exactly,
so many named characters and so many named
Ooh.
factions and so many different kinds of ships and different kinds
See,
of
I
planets.
just
and
wanna know
it
more about
really
this
gives you
space
this
army
sense
that I'm
that
seeing.
you're living in
Is
a
it an actual
universe
space
that is
army? Who
more
knows?
massive than you could have
But
ever
it seems
imagined.
like a space army.
Right?
I've not seen any of these yet.
So excited.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
I love the way the space dragons turned out.
Yes,
Space dragons?
Weird multiple eyes.
Alert, Cosmogoy. Recommended action, run. Well, you just need to open some more packs.
I'm working on it. I'm going slow. I'm savoring it.
Yeah.
See, outside of the fact
As
of
someone on the
Slivers and
world building
Eldrazi,
team,
I've
it's
loved
always
what
really
I've seen so far.
exciting to be able to bridge that
Those
gap
two,
between
though,
the world building we've
keep them
done
the hell
and
away
mechanics
from
we
me.
see on the card.
When you're saying, hey, we're doing an outer space world,
Mm-hmm.
like, of course you're going to have planets. Of course you're going to have spacecraft. It's science fantasy at its heart and bringing that to life.
So to me, space is about exploration and being an optimist
cool
about
looking.
what I could see. It's
God,
also about the vast amount of distances required to travel it. The scale, the size, look how big these things are.
I said it before I even started streaming that I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to pause.
And I always find it so
many names.
it's so awesome at the same time.
Look, it's a.
And so
But-
many different.
That's really cool.
There are so many named characters and
I don't know what it is about this, and me and my podcast host and Newt, we talked about this. This is what I'm referring to when I say Space Army. Is this like this design, basically? Like I don't know what it is. He said it's very Dune to him. He sees Dune with this, but I love this design. And as soon as I saw this, especially this, which is Cosmogrand Zenith. As soon as I saw this, I knew I wanted to make a deck just based off of this. So I'm really intrigued to know more about this. The Space
Of course
Army,
you're
as
going to
I'm
have
calling
planets.
it.
Of course you're
Like,
going to have
I keep calling it a
It's
Space Army.
science
Is it? Who
fantasy
knows, right?
at its heart.
We're going
and
to find out.
bringing
We
that
still
to
got
life.
like 13
So to me,
minutes on
space
this.
is about exploration and being an optimist about what I can
Like, it's
see.
like that. It
It's
looks
also
so
about
cool.
the
I
vast
don't know
amount of
what it is
distances
about it, but it
required
looks
to
so
travel.
cool to
The
me.
scale, the size, look how big these things are. While also having the harsh reality
Tractor
of
beam.
space being extremely unforgiving. and it's
Depressurized.
dangerous.
Oh,
And
that's
we have
sick.
4 mechanics in the set that each reflect one of
Four
those things.
mechanics.
So station is our
Yep.
mechanic that is kind of representing the huge objects in space.
There are 2 new subtypes in Edge of Eternities. There's spacecraft and planet. And at certain thresholds, that permanent will do special
The
things.
station
If it's a
thing's
spacecraft,
kinda
it'll be a
cool.
big creature. and
I
if
feel
a
like it's
planet,
going
it'll
to
unlock
try to
an awesome
slow the
ability.
game down
the
to an
mechanic
extent.
works similar to kind
Right.
of vehicles or mounts where you are paying in your creature's power at sorcery speed to kind of turn them on.
But it is it's a
unlike
cool
those,
ability,
you
though. It's a
are
cool
gathering
new thing.
counters over time until
At
you reach
first,
a
I was thinking
threshold
they're adding
and
like
unlock
7
the
things
abilities
together.
on the
or,
card.
like
here's
3
a
things.
big splashy new mechanic
However-
that gives you a sense of enormous
Like now,
You put all this effort into it, but now that power is at your disposal is a really fun feeling.
yeah,
Of
you
course,
put all that power
with
into it, and
land
then
being
they
such
just
an instrumental
bang.
part of a fun game, we wanted something to
Oh, yay, I
capture
finally
once
got this
again
to
this
level
feeling
bang.
of discovery, right?
Lands are representing the exploration of new places, which is really core to the genre, and artifacts are representing technology. And the lander is really the marriage of those two things.
The
Lander is a
huh?
new token that we're introducing. All you have
Ooh.
to do is pay 2 mana and sacrifice it, and then you search your library for any basic land and put it onto
Okay.
the battlefield tapped.
is kind of similar
that's
to
cool.
other token mechanics that we've
That's
done,
cool.
like clues or treasures.
Yeah,
in the
that's what I
set,
was
it
gonna say,
ties into landfall as a returning mechanic, and letting you make multiple land drops and really playing with that theme of discovery and exploring new stuff.
And then we have the warp mechanic to really evoke how far people have to travel in space at light speed. They show up, they're gone.
Warp is a mechanic that allows you to play the card from your hand for its warp cost, and then you get it temporarily. You have it for this turn only. At the end of turn, it leaves, hangs out in exile, and then you can pay the full retail version later on. It's kind of a variant on Adventure or similar mechanics like that, except here you are playing the same thing twice.
And
it's
so
almost like a
those will have
foretold.
enter effects, which are typically good.
But instead, it's like
warps
you get
out
at least
for
you get to play for a
test
turn
it later. And then that combos so well with Void because Void is a very straightforward mechanic that says, hey, when things leave, I give you a reward.
So Void is a mechanic that cares about
if that was
things
a warp
leaving the
this turn.
battlefield, or if you have warped a card this turn. It checks both of those things, and it's just a pretty clean upgrade if you manage to make your stuff leave the battlefield.
So you warp a card and then you
really
can void
powerful,
it.
really straightforward.
All right.
Makes for some really fun
so that's
combos.
at minus 10,
this
minus
is the
10,
Edge of
by the
Eternities. This is what magic means when it's in outer space.
Minus 10.
All right, here we go. The ship, the Sarima.
You got the Sarima?
I did it.
It's a rad looking ship.
Did you find when you work with artists on this set that they were like super psyched for it?
Oh, yes.
Right? Because they hadn't been able to paint these things for Magic?
Like way more than usual. We had people reaching out and being like, I want to be on the space set.
Yeah.
A lot of our artist pool doesn't normally get to work on space.
That is true, I guess.
Planets, things that are large in scope.
You know, reaching out to them and saying like, hey, I have an assignment. And there was like rumors that the artists always kind of talk to each other. So they were like kind of waiting for it. And they were like, yes, it's finally here.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had as large a number of the artist pool as excited to work on a particular plane or setting as this.
Again, I said I'm not going to pause because this is a 19-minute video and I don't want it to be like a 30-minute video like I normally do. I kind of don't like this, though. If they're getting more excited about this set, and I get different artists are going to be excited about different things, but the amount of emphasis that they're putting on this it's starting to feel forced to an extent, right? Because we already know they just pushed out. We just got Cons, not Cons. We just got Tarkir, which immediately got pushed out by Final Fantasy, which this is like surprisingly at the end of the month, which is then going to be pushed out by Spider-Man and Avatar. Like, they're just going to keep pushing this. So whenever they say stuff like this, oh, they're really excited about this thing. You know, they're really excited about this. 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 Hey, these guys are really excited about this. They were more excited about this than normal. It feels very forced to me. This section does. You don't need to keep repeating it to keep having the impact that you want it to have. And the more you repeat it, the more it feels forced and it feels
The
fake.
booster fun is just so incredible. The
That's just a
colors
me
that
thing.
it brings to Magic.
The lands just hit differently here. I think like there's something about the vertical format that we don't normally get with a regular Magic set because here space goes in all directions. So like it plays well.
The
to
lands
that vertical
look
card.
fantastic.
There's so many like beautiful space vistas where like you just see the curve of the planet on the card and then you can see like ships fighting in front of it.
There's little spaceships zooming through, and the team really knocked it out of the park, just bringing
The
lands
Celestial
to life.
basic lands are going to be awesome to get.
Whoa, breeding pool!
That's exciting.
That is so beautiful.
Oh,
we
breeding
brought
pool.
in the Shocklands, which
Yeah,
brings them into
Shocklands, baby.
standard. Super exciting for that reason.
The borderless viewport lands were this moment of you've
Godless-
just
a
landed on a new
godless
planet
shrine.
and you're
I
still on your
need
spaceship and the door is
I need
opening,
that in
the
my
ramp
life.
is descending. So we
That
kind of
godless shrine,
incorporated
need
the
it.
interior of the ship as the frame. But then the art is just this like window.
That's really
and
cool,
who's
actually.
kind of framed and looking out the window becomes exciting. Just a lot of really good storytelling opportunities.
So we have a cycle of returning lands here, and I sort of pulled some little nuggets that I was seeing and turned it into a consistent chronicle across them that basically just explores moons. Flavor text is a really
that's really
fascinating
cool.
storytelling tool. It gives you those little windows into the world. I like the idea that it was a peek into a grander universe.
The flavor text really gives you this sense of a world that is enormously expansive.
When you crack open a pack, you can kind of land anywhere in the midst of what's going on.
Check it out. I got Celestial Colonnade.
Ooh.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, Borderless Stellar Sights card. I love the font that the title's in. It really captures that outer space vibe.
Yeah. Borderless stellar sights, what we really wanted to do.
I just noticed this yet again. I apologize for continuously pausing. There's no rarity on these, which of course makes sense, right? Because why would you need a rarity when you're obviously looking at them? Duh. But there's no rarity on them.
Wanted to reduce the footprint of the frame on the cards. We did that by taking the title down into the bottom half of the card. And then along the sides with the frame, it's kind of like a star chart, giving you that explorative feeling to it.
You get all these like cool, crazy planetary shapes.
They look
and
really
asteroids
cool.
And spaceships and things. That frame
like that's the biggest thing
well.
is like.
And the borderless poster stellar sights are probably one of my favorite treatments.
Danu said this looks like
the roots of this art.
I keep pausing. Danu said that Danu in the podcast when they showed these, because they only showed like one or two of them, says that they look like posters for like travel posters, like from back in the day, like old '80s travel posters, and I can't unsee that now.
Style are these like travel posters
I keep saying
that
they're
kind of
cool.
came out of the 1930s.
Like the artwork looks
it's
cool.
just this really interesting juxtaposition.
Wildly,
of
I haven't seen a card that I've been like,
and
I don't like the look of
travel
that.
poster style.
With every set, I've kind of seen
super
cards, I'm like,
new and
don't like that.
novel and futuristic science fantasy
haven't
setting.
really seen
That
that with this
combination
set.
is a little bit dissonant, but in a way that's really
maybe it's the
interesting and
sci-fi
cool and
aspect
really
of it that's getting me.
Borderless surreal space treatment definitely gets a lot of that
Jesus.
classic Magic vibe.
Honestly, my favorite thing
Those
I've worked
look
on
cool.
at Magic ever.
The Nova
art
Hell
influences
Kite looks
behind it. We
sick.
dipped really heavily into kind of
The Cosmogoyf also actually
1970s
looks
science
really
fiction
cool.
art. They're so like surreal
Oh wow, never mind.
and
The
ethereal.
arc
And especially in like
enemies
such a bright palette that we have here across all the like galactic clouds and whatnot, it was just vibing with a lot of people in a way that I haven't seen before.
The Borderless Triumphant cards
Stop
were
saying that,
kind of a labor of love and a
please.
really fun idea we had. It's where someone is exploring space and they're like looking
that's
out
cool.
and then they're framed by basically a circle, which could be a moon or a planet. And so each piece has a very similar composition.
Oh, look at that.
Triumph.
You guys, it's one of the Borderless Triumphants.
Oh, that's
It's a
amazing.
lobster!
This is a lobster chef. So see, he's tossing his little mushrooms.
Listen, I am very familiar
Right?
with the lobster chef.
Because didn't you paint one for the main set?
I did. My favorite
Lobster.
element of this painting is he's got an extra pair of hands, so he's able to hold this
Lobster deck
sprig
inbound.
of time. Just
I'm making a
very
lobster
daintily.
deck.
And I like the idea of him serving up nuts and bolts style, like food.
There's a Jello that's got like a whole rusty gear stuck in the top.
Having just little bits of levity like that
Making
here
a
and there, I
lobster
think
deck.
can be very good. For a set, you don't want it to be too one note. Lobster guy making gross food, like, Zach, way to go.
Now it's my turn to open.
Okay.
I'm excited. Oh, check it out. Right? Amazing sliver
No!
overboard.
Feeling that from you in the parking garage.
No.
No!
I'll tell you a secret
Get
about
it
the
out!
Borderless
No!
special guest cards. I would have made the whole set look like that if there weren't
Why is
smarter
the
people
Overlord
around me
in
to,
this?
like, calm
Why?
it down a little
Why?
bit. But that pulp cover style, the idea of people in the 1950s,
That
what
looks
they thought the
fantastic.
future was going to look like, because really, like the influences of
Come
the
on!
feature design at that time was monster movies. People in suits, like waving their arms around really awkwardly, and so like the creatures are just like goofy and funny, and you know all of the fun
God damn it.
typography. That series is just one of my favorite things. For the Japanese showcase fracture foil, it's
Oh.
a really exciting opportunity to highlight the art,
Exalted
the more kind of like
Sunboard.
anime
Want
flavored
it now.
art style
Oh, it's an
that we use
angel
on those
wizard.
cards, and the fracture foil is perfect for
wizard.
that because it's sort of really dynamic and really highlights the movement
Oh, it's
and
a
the big
token
monsters
generator.
and all the
Yeah,
excitement
baby, you
that's
can get
going
that
on
one.
in those cards.
It's just so
Get that
bold
Eldrazi
to see
away
it in
from
a
me.
pack. Like you're immediately going to stop on that one when you open a pack of.
And Galaxy Foil is back for this set. It was kind of a no-brainer. Again,
Galaxy
we knew
Foil.
from the beginning.
Awesome.
You know, it's such a fun effect. It's such a beautiful substrate. And if we're in space
Oh, the
and we
second one
can
looks
have the
really
art have
cool.
stars and then the substrate have stars, like it's just such a fun, perfect moment.
I have never seen
I
it
love
look better,
the
and
Galaxy
fans
foil.
are absolutely going to go nuts for
So
it.
can I just show this one off just because
also
the
beautiful.
lands turned out so good in foil.
When they catch the light,
Yeah.
Another Galaxy
Look at
Foil.
that,
right? Galaxy
Wow.
Foil Swamp.
Oof.
Right?
These look so good.
Yeah.
To achieve the
I hate it because I know what they're talking about because I have a Galaxy foil from like Infinity or something like that in my binder right next to me. However, every time they've turned the card, you don't really get the same effect. You can't really see it, but they're putting so much emphasis on it that it makes me giggle because I can tell.
magic look in the art, really, like the way we
It's like,
do that is
ooh,
we
look
work
at this.
really
Look at it.
incredibly
Look
skilled
at it.
professional artists.
I'm so
many
negative
of
right
them
now,
are
but at the same time,
fans,
I'm
so
really
many of
excited
them
about this
are
set. I'm sorry.
passionate. It blows my mind how many of
I'm
them
sorry.
there are. It seems impossible to me that so many talented people could work for this game. Kieran, how long have you been painting for Magic?
For Magic, I think since 2005.
Wow!
So you did concepting for Edge of Eternities, right?
Yes. A lot of the key art characters
Oh,
and
look at-
then weapons and stuff like that.
I keep.
Yes. A lot of the
I know I kept saying I didn't want to pause it. Is that young Tez? Do we have Tezzeret where he's not, like, fully evil?
Key art characters and then
or like
weapons and
artifacts.
Stuff like that. So, I love fantasy science fiction.
Why do they look so cool? Oh my god. I can't wait to make this deck. I'm making a Space Army deck, and it's just going to be these things. It's just going to be these like characters that look like these.
Space opera.
Don't care how good it is. I'm doing it.
Karen, I have something to show you.
Oh yeah.
Are you excited?
A little bit.
Look,
is it the
cards from the set?
That's cool.
Oh, okay,
Aren't they beautiful?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, your work is so polished and incredible.
I always love giving you glowy stuff. Just the way you manage the colors around the glows.
Oh, that looks
Especially for the set,
fantastic.
Just all these like purples and blues that are blending.
Hyla, guided by lights.
Try to have the silhouette
Hyla
standing out.
Yeah, that looks fantastic.
Let's get into it with this.
Alpha Real.
I think this effect that you have here.
I really love water and organic materials. There's just a lot of play that you can do. So you can kind of really get into kind of noodle heaven, I guess.
Yeah.
Noodle heaven. That's funny.
Being able to sort of undulate through colors and...
Okay, so this isn't Tezzeret. This is Alpharel, the Stone Chosen.
Yes, this is like the perfect set for you too. Because the space kind of acts like a liquid too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it really does. Sammy. Yeah. Getting to work on Sammy was awesome. Similar to Alpha Real, kind of wanted their expression to be, pensive, almost troubled, I guess, in a way. Like,
yeah, sure. It's so exciting to see 3 brand new characters from Magic.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you do a lot of character work for us, but I gotta say, you totally nailed these.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Endstone.
Yeah, Endstone.
Beautiful.
Look at that.
Wow.
That's killer. That's
Look
an
at
oil painting.
That looks useful.
And once you have it out, you're gonna win the game.
What?
Sure hope so.
Yeah.
Endstone, 7 drop. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card at the beginning of your end step. Your life total becomes half your starting life total rounded up. Okay.
Something that Andrew Brown, who is the lead designer of the set, often says is that our sets are way better when we have fun making them, and I really believe that to be true.
I see it every day, how much passion all my coworkers pour into this. We love Magic so much. Most of us got here because we love Magic.
Edge of Eternities is magic in space.
Godless
It's
Shrine looks
like
so
all
good.
the things you want from Magic, but you're on a spaceship. And there's an alien chasing you, and maybe there's an alien in your co-pilot seat, and he's
combo, baby!
That vibrancy, that richness
God, I wanna make
of when you see something, you pick up a card and you're like, whoa. Right? That moment, to me, that makes it all worthwhile.
It's going to feel like they're traveling really far away, but it's going to feel like home for them at the same time.
I hope fans are excited to see it. I really do.
The promise of space means so many different things to so many different people, and it's new places, it's new things, it's new people, it's new planets.
And so I hope that feeling of expansiveness and the care and creativity that was put into crafting the scale of the setting really comes across. And I hope that the Edge is a place that fans love to visit for the first time, and also that our first visit sort of piques their interest to see more, because we've built this environment in such a way that there's so much more to discover.
That is kind of also one of the interesting things with this, and I will say that, is that with them doing space, there's so many things they can do with this. Where, like, they could do... I mean, obviously, right, with a lot of the sets they can, but with space, it definitely does feel like there's a lot more opportunities, because they can just be like, oh, we were in this part of space over here, but now we're over here. Like that sort of thing. Okay, so, I mean, right off rip, I'm loving the look of this set. I'm just gonna leave that up because it looks fantastic. I'm loving the look of the set. Other than the slivers and the Eldrazi, I love everything that I'm seeing about the set. It's very unique. It's very straight to it. And I know I've had issues with that in the past, right? Like with Thunder Junction and things like that, where like when they were doing it very specific. The reason why I kind of like it for this is because I have a feeling this isn't the last time we're going to space. I don't know if we're going back to Thunder Junction. I don't know if we're going back to not Bloomborough. Oh, what the hell was the one after Bloomborough? Shows you how much I care. Duskmorn. I don't know if we're going back to Duskmorn. Like, there's some of these planes, I don't know if we're going to go back to Ravnica in a spy sort of set. I don't know if we're going to go back to Aether Drift. Like, there's some of these sets that I don't know if we'll ever go back to, right? Space, I feel like we're going to go back to. So setting up stations, setting up voids, setting up warp is nice because they can already reuse those later on and then add some new things to it. Now, are they going to definitely do that? Who the hell knows? But I'm just saying, to me, that's what I see with this. Is it's more of a setting up for future things where we're going to be doing more stuff in space. I originally went from being very skeptical about this set to now liking this set. I think this is a really cool idea. I like what they're doing with it. And like I said, the Space Army, I mean, I paused it on a couple different things every time they were showing Space Army stuff because I'm just like, this looks cool. Like, I can't say no. Like, to me, it just, like, it looks cool.
Really cool.
There are so many named characters.
Like that, like this is yet again this one, the Dune character, right? I'm very excited for this set because of this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, right? Let me know what you guys think, right? I'm intrigued to talk it out with some people in the comments. As always, though, depending on where you are, morning, after, even night, stay out, trouble, stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all later. Okay, bye. It sounds like I was now that I'm rethinking about it. It sounded like I was really negative throughout this whole thing, but I am actually very excited for this set. There's certain things that people do that sometimes get to me, and they were getting to me in this one. I'm just going to say that.